Why, hello! Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been quite some time since I last uploaded and I might look a little bit different. Okay, but on a serious note, I just want to jump on here and say that the first half of this video is basically going to be footage from Halloween, and the second half of the video is going to be footage from Thanksgiving. Basically, I'm just going to do the same thing that I did last year, where I ended up procrastinating on pumpkin painting, because the night of Halloween, we decided to paint pumpkins this year, but then of course we ended up with leftover pumpkins, and instead of just throwing them away and wasting them, I decided that I wanted to paint on them. So this is what I came up with. Stick in my head, Sammy. Sammy knocked it over. This is why we can't film videos.
This is why we can't have nice things. Say hi to the camera, Sammy.
You're having way too much fun with this right now. So anyways, while we watched my fat blob of blue paint trickle down my pumpkin, I did take some time to figure out what I wanted to paint on it. And originally I had a few ideas, but of course I decided to use the blue paint that was already on the pumpkin as a background. And actually, during the first few minutes of painting, we ended up getting a few trick-or-treaters to stop by our door, so this is what our first guest dressed up as.
Pikachu's master is, I forget the...
I sabotage.
Ash Ketchum.
Catch. What?
Ash Ketchum. Something like that. Ash Ketchum? Is that his name?
Ketchup.
Ash Ketchum?
I was recording that. Walk back into the frame, please. Oh, look, Sammy's in frame again.
Lick her feet.
No, don't lick my feet. Lick Sammy.
No, stop. Why are you so old? Such an old boy. Such an old boy.
Hey, you made your water all crusty. Yeah, look at that. It's all crusty. Wow, beautiful. Look at the strokes.
Send help.
Aww. Is that Sammy? It's Sammy!
Are you recording?
No.
Oh.
So this is the progress on the painting. Clearly we didn't get very far.
Who freaking spits in paint?
I don't know if they actually spit in that though.
But like, what makes it do this? Other than being old.
I don't even know if it's even old. It came like that when I got it. Eventually, after letting the paint dry, we did begin working on the finer details. In fact, you might be able to guess what we decided to paint on based on the color choices that we picked out, or what you might be able to see on the side. For my pumpkin, and I'll give you a hint, I did decide to paint one of my favorite characters from Nightmare Before Christmas. And Mikey Swicky did a very scary Halloween-themed penguin. So congratulations, you made it this far into the video. So after Halloween had passed, I was left with a few leftover pumpkins that weren't exactly painted yet, as you saw from the B-roll. And basically, I decided to paint these pumpkins according to a specific theme or group of characters. Here, I decided to do a bunch of Disney characters, and if you see from the color palette, you might be able to guess which characters I painted. Unless, of course, you actually saw the thumbnail of this video, which might have given it away, but if you haven't, it's gonna be a surprise. Here, I decided to do an outline of their faces, which may or may not have been a bad idea, considering a few mistakes were made. By a few mistakes, I mean a few messes. By a few messes, I mean I got paint on my hand. I also happened to find this gem on my white sweater, which isn't exactly the most epic move, but don't worry because my sweater is no longer stained due to a miracle, and if you do end up painting pumpkins on your own, I would suggest you don't wear white. But anyways, after outlining the details with black paint and a fine brush, I decided to mix up a few paints to create the right shades. Here I mixed red with white paint to make a lighter pink shade, and then I attempted to mix in red, yellow, and white to make a tan color, which didn't turn out that bad. While I was painting this though, I was originally planning on painting around what was already outlined in black, but instead I decided to paint over it and re-outline the image once the paint was dry. And because I was a little bit extra, I did paint the bottoms of these pumpkins, and this was the final result. So, if you couldn't already tell, the theme I decided to paint on these pumpkins are based on the characters from Winnie the Pooh, where Eeyore and Lumpy the Heffalump are featured on the bigger pumpkins, and the other characters such as Pooh, Tigger, Pooh's honey pot, which isn't necessarily a character but is an essential feature, Rabbit, and Piglet are featured on the mini pumpkins.
Oh.